So I'm having a catch up with Fun Lovin Criminals. How are you both?
Very good, thanks. How you
Very
doing?
good, thank you, my friend.
Good, great stuff. We've been playing a new single of yours called Little Bit Further. Why don't one of you tell us a bit about the single?
Go for it, Frank.
Um, all right, it's a disco soul infused summer classic. That's what it said. I think it's been called on. It was called last week on Six Music a stone cold banger, which we'll take. But yeah, it's just about getting ready to rejoice, have a good time with your friends, kick back over the summer, live for the weekend, and don't let the world and all its mess that it is at the moment kind of consume your life. Just try and have a little bit of fun where you can. That's really what that single's trying to do, for me anyway. I don't know about you, Fast.
Yeah, same. It's a good song, summer jam, and it's the perfect launching track for our new album. So it fit in perfectly for what we're trying to do with it. So
Nice. Yeah, and you mentioned it's off your new record. A Matter of Time coming out 18th of July. What can we expect to hear on the record?
well, it's August 29th, the album comes out.
Ah,
We have a set, it's all good, Jim. We have a second single coming out in July, but yeah, we're excited. Frank and I started work on it about a year ago, and it came together rather quickly, which, 4 years ago, we wanted to get new music out for the fans because they've been wanting new music from us. And we were doing EPs at the time. We released two EPs, and they were great. We really had a great reception. The fans were happy to see that the FLC sound is still intact and that we're coming to play in a town near them, so it's good. So to put out a full length album, which we haven't done in 15 years, was really wasn't too difficult. Obviously, it takes a lot of time, but yeah, we're happy. We're looking forward to it and getting out on the road to play it.
good, good. Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on the touring in a minute, but I like to stick to the album just for
Cool.
now. Where the sound that you made with this record, is it the sound you wanted, or is it kind of just how it turned out in the studio?
No, there was definitely some added, not added ingredients, but more of an ingredient of bringing the pace up. When me and Fast started going to the drawing board, I suppose the main thing was energy. We're very well known for our super lounge, laid back, cool hip hop vibe, which we love. But on this album, we wanted a little bit more energy. So we wanted a bit more of an influx of rock and roll, a little bit more pace so people can move around a little bit at the shows. And obviously, the first single, you hear that, you got that disco four on the floor feel. We've got big rock songs on the album. We've got some killer hip hop songs on the album. We're still paying homage to that lounge vibe that we love. But I think the main ingredient for us going into this one was just to have a little bit more energy and a little bit more pace about it, which I think we've definitely accomplished on this record.
Yeah, and I mean, also like Frank saying, working with our our friend Tim Latham, who has mixed and recorded most of the FLC, well, pretty much every FLC record that we've ever done. He brought this like raw energy when he was doing the mix to it, which was something that we were trying to polish the songs a bit too much. And the way he heard it with his, his objective hearing was to kind of keep it raw, which was, what we did on the first album, Confine Yourself, and then we started polishing things up subsequent albums. But I think this one definitely has a rawness to it, which is really cool, whether it's a rock song or a Latin song or a disco song, And I think fans will like that we thought of this album when we were sequencing it like a vinyl, because there is going to be vinyls coming out. We're big vinyl lovers. And the first side is really quite raw and more electric and rocking. And then the second side, we kind of get more groovy and get more into, the other sides of the FLC formula, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you wrote more than what made it onto this record. What happens to those now? Do you consider them again down the line, or do you think it's a case of binning them off and you'll start again next time round?
I don't think we ever bin anything off. I like, and I think Fast likes the way that Prince operated, which he had this vast vault that is, you know, very famous, and they're still pulling out albums and releases from that vault, even though he's passed on. And I think, you know, Fast has got a bunch of hard drives with
Yeah, there's
there's
endless
songs, you know, there's books with lyrics on it. Yeah, yeah. There's
there's a
books
lot
with lyrics on that
didn't get in stuff.
not
I
used
mean,
on this album.
there's always stuff like sitting on hard drives, like Frank said. And I mean, on this album, there's a bass line that was something Frank and I were whipping up like 15 years ago that just we never made it happen. But it's on the record on a track called Out of Darkness Comes the Light. There's a song called All Across the Lands that musically was written in like 2008. So it just kind of gathered digital dust, and then we polished it up. And, you know, a lot of the skeletons of the FLC songs kind of will sit there. And then once we, you know, say, all right, we're going to put this on the album, or we're going to fully record it, then we can really work on the melodies of songs, the lyrics of the songs. And I mean, you know, there's 3 or 4 that didn't get on the album. 2 I wish did, but it just didn't happen. But you know, you never know. Technically, the way I see it is we've got half the next record ready to go. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Fast, it's the first time you're on lead vocals on a record. How's it? How did it feel for you to be taking the top line for the first time?
Well, you know, I did the lead on the 2 EPs we put out in 2022 and 23, I believe, and it's cool. I mean, it's similar to when the band started. It was like, well, who has the coolest voice? And at the time, it was Huey. And now I think it more made, not saying I have the coolest voice, but I think it made the most sense for the band that I would be the one to take over vocals. You know, Frank and I spoke about getting someone else on guitar and vocals, and, you know, that way I can still do the stuff I do. But it just didn't pan out. None of the ideas we came up with sounded legit enough, you know, for the fans to still realize that, you know, FLC was never about one person, and that moving forward we can give the fans what they want, which is new music, and that still remains true to the FLC formula. You know, I was a major part in developing the sound of the band, being that I was the one messing with all the samples back in the day. And I'm not trying to discredit what Huey did, obviously lyrically. You know, a lot of the stories, he wrote the lyrics. You know, I was there for a lot of those stories, but at the same time, you know, where the band is, we've come a long way in 30 years. And, you know, since Frank joined the band, you know, the band is still kicking it. I mean, I kind of consider the Fun Lovin Criminals of the past 20 years, you know, being really what the band was meant to be. We started out, we were young, we were naive, we didn't know the industry. And then we kind of honed our craft and brought it to where it is today. And I think the fans love it. And the ones that come to the shows love that they can hear other tracks from our previous albums that we never played live, because we don't rehearse that much. But getting Naeem in the band on guitar was a great opportunity for us to spend some time and rehearse and get, you know, some other songs in. So yeah, it's nothing but a good thing, man.
Yeah, good, good. I like to talk about the writing side of things as well. So for you guys, how do the tracks normally start off?
It depends, you know. I'll send Frank some ideas for stuff, especially sample based, you know, tunes. You know, the skeleton I'll send it to Frank, and you know, he'll get busy adding his parts, drums, percussion, you know, melodic lines, you know, sometimes bass lines, sometimes, you know, other guitar lines and stuff. And, you know, Frank will write the majority of the lyrics on stuff, because he's just been doing it for so long, and he's a great lyricist. He comes up with good ideas. So, and then we get together, and whether it's online, you know, through emailing tracks back and forth, and we kind of mess around, change lyrics around a bit, change music arrangements around a bit. But the formula is still the same as it's been since the 90s. You know, just don't have any rules, mix any genres we want. If it works for the song, then it works, right? What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, I think that you know, I think the caliber of melody and lyric content on this record is the best that it's been for a long time. But I think that's because we don't shy away from hard work in the studio. We will run with an idea until we've got it to its possible best. We don't just do a take and think that'll do. It's not like that. It's let's refine this down until we're super happy with it. So I think the quality control on this record is way superior than, say, the last record that we put out, original album. So that is a very pleasing for somebody who writes, whether it be fast writing the music or whether it's me putting ideas down. It takes lyric ideas down. It takes a lot of work. So you want it to be, before you release it out to the world, Jim, we need to be happy with it. And to be happy with it, you need to live with it for quite some time and not rush anything. And so that's what we've done with this record. That's why, I mean, I'm super psyched that the new single's going down as well as it is, and fans are loving it, and the reviews of it are great. And radio stations are making it record of the week, whether it's national, regional. I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that, but it's kind of nice because, with me and Fast, we will sit in a record days and days, months and months, to get it to where we hope that people are going to accept it. And this is really the first single for a long time where people seem to be jumping on it going, this is really, really good. So it's a really pleasing thing. So, but yeah, as far as how it works, normally music first, lyrics, melody, and then a lot of refining when it comes to top line guitar parts, this and that. But the great thing about Naeem is he knows that the two producers are me and Fast, and he wants to give what he gives. So he comes up with some great stuff, but then he's also, if we say, well, can you bend it this way? Can you do it this way? He's happy to do that as well, because he knows the FLC has a certain sound. And that's another reason why this is just a really pleasing, great body of music. And
Yeah,
I hope you enjoy it when you hear the whole album, Jim. You know what I mean?
I mean, Naeem, he's a very versatile guitarist. So we have a track on the album called Make It Nice that's kind of got a Latin vibe to it. And then he just sits right there in the pocket with the Latin guitars on it and stuff. It's great. But then give him a track where we want a riff bass, like heavy rock song, and he kills it as well. So it's important for FLC that the guitar player, can be all across the board with what they know how to play and stuff. And he fills that role perfectly, which is great for us writing and us producing, because it is. You just go in a studio and say, all right, Naeem, play us a Latin melody line. He's like, okay. And he'll come up, and usually within the first couple takes, it's golden, And Frank will send me tracks down to my studio here, and I'll mess around and, try to always stay true to the recording of the song. I mean, if it's like a rhythmic thing, then we can copy and paste. But if there's a part that's live throughout the whole track, we try to let it just, play out, kind of like we did in the early days when we didn't have computers to record on and stuff, Otherwise, everything just sort of sounds the same over and over and over again. So that's important for our sound, I think.
Yeah, I can well imagine. And yeah, absolutely. And once the album comes out at the end of August, you've then got a nice extensive touring run across the UK and Europe. I bet you can't wait to be on the road again.
We love touring.
Yeah. Not looking forward to a lot of the traveling, but always look forward to the shows. But the traveling's a pain in the arse, you know what I mean? But
that's the work. The traveling is the work. The shows
are the
easy part. But it's
yeah,
great.
it should be good.
It's great to have. Sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Go on, Rick. Go on, bro.
It's great to have 10 new songs that we can pick and choose for the shows. We're not going to be a band that comes out and only plays new material. The fans know they're going to hear the classics. They're going to hear some rarities, which is something the band's never done up until a few years ago. And then, we can, pepper the set list with some new songs and stuff and switch it up. Some of the songs on the new record will sound great in a big outdoor festival, and some of the songs will sound great in a smaller kind of club venue. So we're very lucky that we have, you know, so many songs to choose from and some of these new ones. So, but touring's great. It's the shows, the travel, getting to shitty hotels and all that, and just getting tired. But we've done it so long, Jim, that we know not to book 5-6 shows in a row. We try to get it where the routing isn't so bad, which is easier said than done. But the important thing for us is to be able to get out and play for people, fans of the band who may have seen us in the late 90s, early 2000s when we were playing everywhere. But then the past 15, 20 years, we just weren't going to play in their towns, you know? So that's important to go play for these people because they're the reason we're still here doing it. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Guys, it's been a pleasure having a catch up with you.
Jim, thank you, mate.